Good morning, Bulldog Nation. I'm here with Coach Seth Parker. We're here to talk about what happened last week, what's going on this week, and everything in between. So I guess it hasn't been all sunshine and rainbows around here this week after what some people would call an unexpected loss out at Brewer. It's rarely a question of what went right or wrong when a football team loses a game. One of Nick Saban's things he's always famous for saying is you can learn more from a loss than you do for a win. What has the team learned this week?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's still kind of out for debate. I think we'll figure out what we learned, in this next game and kind of as we get another chance to go out and perform. And, certainly disappointed in the way that we played and the way that we coached and all around. I told the kids it's on me first and foremost. I mean, it's, I don't throw a pass or make one block or a tackle, but it also comes back to, obviously I didn't have them ready to play. And so it's on me, but at the end of the day, it's one game, we got to move on. Football, some of the best football coaches I've been around, they're really great because they know how to squash it, whether it's a win or a loss. And so we're certainly going to learn from it, certainly get back to business. But, we have a good attitude around here. I mean, we're not sulking on it. I mean, you're upset, you're disappointed for about 24 hours, 48 hours, and, it motivates you. If you're a true competitor, it motivates you. So, I think we've had good positive attitudes around here this week, and guys are excited to get back to it and have a chance to prove themselves.
Good. Has your first loss taught you anything personally?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, I think it's, I think a loss is a loss, but it's not the first game that I've lost. It's the first game I've lost as a head coach, so it probably hurts worse than some of the other ones. But football is a very tough game, and I tell kids all the time. We tell our kids every single week. It's so hard to win. It's so easy to lose. And last week it was very easy for us to lose. I mean, it was very, very, quick. They jumped out on us, and we didn't respond. And so, it has taught me something about the here and now. But again, I feel like I know who I am as a competitor, and I was over it in about 24 hours and moving on to the next, because again, the one thing you can't let do is affect you this week. So we're I don't want to say you're over it in the sense of like, again, if you're a true competitor, you're always going to be motivated and upset about your losses. You'll remember all of them forever. I remember every game I've ever lost, probably more than the ones I've won. But no, I think it probably doesn't teach you a whole lot new about yourself. I mean, you got to go on to the next.
Okay. That's enough about that. Let's put that behind us. Looking ahead, this week's opponent is Ardmore. It's our first area game. They're 2-0 with big wins over, I'll call them overmatched opponents. I think Tanner and, was it Colbert County, I believe? Clements. I think they've both scored 14 points combined and been outscored by over 100, I think, in their first two games each. Have they shown you anything interesting on tape, or are they still just pure vanilla?
No, they're a very good team. I mean, they've done some really good things, and I don't think we can discredit Clements or Tanner. Certainly they're smaller schools, but they're very well coached. I know both head coaches at Tanner and Clements, and they're great dudes and do a really, really good job. And there's some really good athletes at both schools. Yes. And so, I don't think you can discredit those wins. I think they're 2-0, and 2-0 is 2-0, and you are what you say. You are what your record says you are. And so, I think Ardmore's a really good team. I think that, this is a group for them that they've had play for a number of years. And I think in a lot of ways similar to Brewer. I think they've been a team that's, maybe taken, some losses on the chin the last couple of years, but it's only made them better for now. And so I'll tell you this, Coach Snyder at Ardmore is as good as they get. Him as a head coach, he is as good as anybody that I've been around. I've had a chance to coach with him my first year out of college, and he is a great coach. And so I think Ardmore's a really good team. I think this is their year, if you look at groups kind of as you go, and I think this is their group. And so we're going to have to play really, really well. And like I said, I don't think you discredit those wins, man. I think a win is a win is a win, and they've taken care of business. And it's all you can do is play who's on the schedule.
Absolutely. one thing, and just kind of doing a little bit of prep for the game this week, they have a small mountain who plays offensive and defensive line for him. 6'7", 280 is what he's listed at. He might be bigger than that. How do you deal with a physical presence like that on the field?
I think there's a number of things you can do, and this being published, I'm not going to talk about what our plan is with him.
Oh, absolutely not. Just in general.
It's more than just him too, though. I mean, they've got a number of linemen on both sides of the ball that are really big and physical and played a ton of football. I know, again, talking about Coach Schneider, I have a personal relationship with him. I know his son starts on the offensive line. He's a really good young player, and they've got 4 or 5 guys that, the way they're listed are above 6 foot, some really big boys. And I think that's something Ardmore's known for, is having big physical linemen. And so, like you said, the young man you referred to is certainly the biggest of them all. And we've certainly painted the challenge for our kids this week that in order for us to win, we're going to have to handle not just him, but everybody on their offensive and defensive fronts. So, it's going to present a challenge, no doubt, but we're excited for it.
How's the health of the team in general? Just I know you got a couple of players that are banged up, and Julian Avalos, losing him, he's been playing out of his mind. Great, but just overall, how's
I think we're good. I think last week, of course, we had one get banged up in the game, but I think for the most part, everybody else is recovering and getting healthy, and we're about to 100%. So. I think things are going really well. I think that's a testament to our weight room and what Coach Burke does in here and gets our kids ready for a long season. And it's also kind of the way you practice. You got to be, cautious at times for when you're going to be very physical versus times where you're going to kind of stay off the ground and not go to the ground. So, but as far as overall health, I think we're getting back to being fully healthy and ready to go.
Good. I have noticed you really haven't had a ton of practice injuries this season. You've had a few people banged up in games, but doesn't seem to be a lot of practice injuries and weight room injuries. So that's a testament to what y'all are doing.
Right.
How's this week of practice been? Been boys working good?
Oh
good
yeah.
Attitude?
Oh yeah. Attitude's always good. Again, I think. Even last week, I think we had some good days of practice, and sometimes it just doesn't come together. Sometimes, you're dealing with 15, 16, 17-year-old kids, and it's not like me and you going out there knowing our job. They're worried about a lot of other things, and you got to get their mind right before a game. But yeah, we've had a good week of practice, and I'm really proud of the week that our kids have put in to bounce back and try to go get a win.
Anybody jumped out at you having a really good week?
Again, I could always. I mean, there's a number of guys I can name. I'm gonna give Case and Drawball. He's been really good, really solid. And of course, he's shown up in a couple games and made some really big plays. And he's just consistent, man. He's just consistent. He's always there. He knows every route from every position. And right now is become one of our biggest playmakers on offense. And no matter how big or small he is, he's become one of our playmakers. And he works so hard in practice. One thing about him is he does everything he can to get in and get any rep. After our first game, he was on the trampoline, I think the next day, and slips and cuts his eye, and he's got 4 or 5 stitches above his eye. It hadn't checked up. And I'm gonna be honest with you, there's definitely some dudes that I've coached before that would find a way out, and he's finding a way to stay in. So I love Kaysen, and his teammates love him, and I certainly know our quarterbacks love throwing to him. So he's had a great week, but he has a great week just about every week.
I did get a chance to see just a couple of minutes of practice the other day, and he was there chomping at the bit, waiting for them to get the jugs machine shut up, and every rep I saw him take he caught it the right way. Mm-hmm. Hands funnel it to the chest and cradle it. Mm-hmm. So I agree. I think he's doing a great job.
He is a young guy and getting a lot better. So we love him.
I'll throw you a little bit of a curveball right here. One thing I noticed at Brewer, there were a lot of calls from the officials that the crowd disagreed with. And I think there were a couple that you disagreed with, at least the way it appeared from the stands. How do you handle that kind of adversity during the game?
Right. Yeah, I try to I try to pride myself during a game. I mean, I feel like the only time I get really off kilter or, kind of off my mode is when we do something good. I try to get really excited when we do things good. When we do things bad or bad things happen, I try to stay calm. And, I think that's one thing I've tried to get through to our coaches is, the kids always are going to look at us. You have to stay calm. You can get excited. You can be passionate. You can get upset, but it's got to be in a professional way. And so I try to stay calm. There are a few calls last week that didn't allow me to do that. But at the end of the day, man, the refs had no bearing on the outcome of that game. We lost that game. And, I mean, a few calls here and there could have made it maybe closer. But we're not looking at it saying that, it was on them. And we've got to be better from our standpoint as coaches, as players, as everybody, as a full program. So we've got to be better. But, I mean, I definitely got upset at a few of them last week. But, that's football. Win or loss, you're going to be upset with some calls. And again, I respect our officials and appreciate what they're doing, spending their time out here. And, I know it's sometimes a thankless job. So I try to be respectful to them as much as I can and be professional with it.
It's somehow or another, it always winds up that those guys out there on the field are calling against both teams.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody agrees with them. Nobody likes the calls they're making, but they're out there doing their job every day, whether the people in the stands agree with it or not.
Right.
And there were a couple of those calls that, going back and looking at film and other things like that, they did make the right call. On a couple of the ones that really got the crowds incensed and whatnot, it was the right call. So,
and there were some that were not. There were some that were not. We've gone out and we've, reviewed it, and there were some that were not, truthfully. But it is what it is, and like I said, I had no outcome on the game. So,
right. And both teams have to deal with that
right.
during the course
And there
of
were
the game.
some that were wrong on their side too. I
Yes.
mean, you go back and look, there were. I think they got called for illegal participation. It was a 15-yard penalty. It was really for them a legal substitution, which is a 5-yard penalty. So, I mean, again, there's a lot like that. But, again, that just like we make mistakes, players make mistakes, referees make mistakes too, and they're all human. And, again, they're out there giving their time to us and to the kids. So I appreciate them for that. And I think our refs in the Decatur Association do a really, really good job more times than not. So I appreciate those guys.
Yeah. And I know they'll appreciate hearing that, especially from you. Because, coming from a coach, it just means more.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you'd like to tell the crowd out there, sir?
We're certainly at work trying to do everything we can to get ready to play, and again, we want to see everybody out there. It's youth night this week at Bulldog Stadium, and we'd love to see all of our youth PCRE players and cheerleaders out there. Before the game, going to give you guys a chance to get on the field and kind of experience a little bit what our players experienced. But on top of that, I appreciate our crowd last week at Brewer. I hate we couldn't give you guys a better showing, and that's one of the things I'm most disappointed in is letting you guys down. But at the end of the day, we're going to do everything we can to get right and bounce back this week. So appreciate the crowds, and hopefully we continue to see those, especially at our first home game this week.
It's going to be a good one. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow night. Bulldog Nation, Ardmore, 7 o'clock, Friday night. Be there. We'll see y'all in the stands.